Uh-oh.
You better stop it. Welcome to the Church of Mabus.
Too late, we're going.
It's too late. We're still alive. It's the apocalypse, but we're still here. We're in a bunker with all the yuppies. No, we're not. But we're still moshing to the apocalypse. And the apocalypse is running late, but it may be on time. Definitely looking pretty crazy right now on multiple levels. My overall plan is just don't leave the house, but that doesn't work. I have to leave the house sometimes, but there's going to be a House of 1,000 Corpses, Texas Chainsaw people out there all mad and stuff because we're at war.
You're not in Texas. Come on.
It's Florida. I mean, come on. I'm from Georgia, but I'm in Florida. We got Florida Man, so we got it all. Did you ever see that Florida Man on HBO, the show, the little comedy shows on HBO Max?
No.
It's called It's Florida Man, and it's like little 30-minute shows with actors who are pretty famous reliving crazy Florida stories, like Florida Man stories. There's a lot of famous actors in it. Would y'all quit moving the bowl like that, Pumpkin?
But anyway, it sounds like you're having some work done over there.
I know. Jay McNicholas is here with us. Todd Blackwood, great to have you here. And Pumpkin's done, so he'll stop. But anyway, yeah, it seems like the apocalypse. We're just going to talk about gothic horror and ghost stories and all kinds of other stuff. We're just going to escape reality. It's the only way I know how to do it. It seems perfect. Right. But man, Nosferatu, the Nosferatu, you just got back from a con. What is it called? Nosferatu Con. Tell us about that, what that embodies, and just your experience there on some level.
Well, that was in Austin, Texas, which, in fact, actually, you just brought up the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the gas station that's in that film I was just right next to there. That was. But I ran a Kickstarter campaign to do this Nosferatu graphic novel, and one of my backers mentioned to me that there was a Nosferatu festival in Austin, and it was enough time that I started looking into it and kept thinking, well, if I'm doing a book where the theme is Nosferatu, going to a Nosferatu festival seems like a no-brainer. So I did that, and it was mostly just artists, and it was based around a magazine called Gore Noir, which is kind of like Fangoria. I'll confess I hadn't heard of it before, but there was like garlic eating contest and people making figures of Nosferatu and paintings, and I think technically I was the only. Well, there was illustrators, but maybe I was the only comic book artist there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was only 2 days. It went really quick. They had bands playing at night. Supposedly there was some burlesque stuff going on, but I feel like I kind of missed it.
You remember any of the bands, the names or anything?
Oh yeah. A band called Hate, I want to say. Or the Hates, I forget, but they were great, and they're like a classic punk band from like the 80s. There was a band called, I think, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Bunch of I should remember them, but the bands were all terrific. Gothic oriented in one way or another. Grave 45, 45 Grave played, I think, last year. From Night of the Living Dead, or Return of the Living Dead. It's one of my favorite bands of all time, so really wish I had been there that year. But
what's their name again?
45.
45 Grave.
Yeah, remember that song "Party Time"? When Return of the Living Dead is kind of a comedy horror, and it's when the zombies officially start breaking out of the ground, it goes right into this rock and roll song, and you realize you're in for quite a ride. It's a really fun. Yeah.
I love those movies. Any Romero movie I love, but I know there's some Funko Pop's about to release the Corpse Couple the Mohawk couple or whatever. They're about to release a version that looks pretty awesome coming out in April.
Well, that's Dawn. Isn't that Dawn of the Dead? I forget. I get them mixed up.
Return of the Living Dead is the Mohawk, and Nika has a set of them too. That's like a woman and a corpse, but it's Return of the Living Dead. There's three of those.
Return of the Living Dead is the Dan O'Bannon movie, right? Not Romero.
The funny one. Yeah, the funny one. Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about the same one. Okay, yeah.
And the guy looks like Emilio Estevez that's in it, but I don't think it's Emilio Estevez. I think it is, but yeah, is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Romero's daughter's doing a bunch of new stuff. She did one with like drag queen zombies. I don't remember the name, but I know Romero was working on one with like cars and like a Mad Max kind of thing. I don't know if they're going to continue that at some point, but I know he had a lot of projects. Oh, I got a weird Romero story for you.
Okay.
There's a guy that comes on our show. His name's Al Going Back, OWL Going Back, and he writes Native American horror, and it's excellent. He's in Florida. He knows Joe R. Lansdale, but anyway, he knew George Romero, and George Romero was going to make a Bigfoot movie. I forget the name of it, but some university released parts of it recently, like clips, and it wasn't the whole movie, but like screenshots of like, concepts and stuff. But anyway, George wanted Al, OWL, to play a native in that movie that wrestled like a mountain lion or a panther. And it was George Romero was going to make a Bigfoot movie. I forget the name of it, but he didn't. He went on to make something else. But just a weird Romero story that I don't get to tell often from one of our guests.
That sounds great. I'd love to see a Bigfoot movie by Romero. It's too bad I didn't happen.
We need to get a time machine and go back and change reality. That's a movie and a movie we could do right there.
Yeah, because the few Bigfoots that are out there, those movies they're hokey as hell.
Yeah, most of them suck.
Pretty much.
But what I love about Nosferatu is I love the silent films. I have like a collection of those. There's a lot of different ones, but it's always haunted me just the way he looks. And then I love the Werner Herzog version. I thought that was really good. That's haunting. And then Shadow of the Vampire. I enjoyed the new Nosferatu, but one of my favorite Draculas is the Francis Ford Coppola. I really love that one. I like them all, but some of them can get really cheesy, I know. But tell us why Nosferatu.
Well, for several reasons. One, the Robert Eggers movie was coming out, and horror had fallen kind of flat for me for many years. And a lot of movies started out, the first hour were pretty good, and then they tend to flatline halfway through. Eggers was the first movie I'd seen in a very long time that I felt stuck the landing with The Witch. And the first thing I wondered was, okay, what's this guy doing next? And he immediately brought up Nosferatu. So I'd been anticipating it since 2013, quite a long time. And it brought back a lot of memories because as a child, I was really into Salem's Lot and the Tobe Hooper miniseries, and the fact that they had, that I was told that this was a throwback to an old movie called the first time I'd heard of Nosferatu, seen photos from it. I don't think I actually saw the film until I was a teenager, maybe. I don't even remember. But anyways, anticipating it. So it officially started in, I think, June of 2024 or 25. I forget exactly, but it was about 6 months before the Eggers movie came out. And there's an artist named Troy Nixie who did a Nosferatu poster for Mondo. And I saw that and I got really jealous. And I was like, oh man, I want to do a Nosferatu poster. And then I went and looked and saw that it was in the public domain. And I thought, well, I guess I will do a Nosferatu poster because my other reaction to it was, I love that poster, but that's not what I would do with it. But then I just started doing this drawing that ended up being the cover, literally the first drawing that I did.
Yeah.
And then I posted it somewhere on social media, and someone messaged me and said, "Oh, are you doing a Nosferatu graphic novel?" Because I have a background in comics and animation, and I was like, "No, of course not." And then I thought about it for a second, and I thought, "Wait a minute, why not? Like, why? I've got enough time." It was in June, and I thought I could clear my schedule for the summer and work on this book and either find a publisher by September or run a crowd fund around Halloween, because I'd wanted to do gothic horror as in comics. I realized if it was left up my own devices, ghost stories were really the place I felt most comfortable. And it's also something like H.P. Lovecraft is in the public domain. And I started thinking about, because you can want to draw Spider-Man all you want, but they're not going to let you do that unless, you don't own it. So I spent the summer, I mapped out the entire book. So I made all the important decisions of what was going to be in the story based on the old silent film, of course. And two things happened. First of all, as I started on it, it was a very sudden decision, and as I started laying it out and then drawing it, I suddenly realized it was a silent film, and I was going to have to write some dialogue. And I'm just kind of making all this up on the fly. So I got out. I had 2 copies of Dracula, and I basically destroyed one of them by going through and annotating each chapter, the Bram Stoker novel. And I wanted to know what happened in each chapter for reference. And then I wrote down by hand every single line of dialogue I could find in the book. And then I went through, so I just laid out the book visually. But then when it came time to write dialogue, I started seeing what lines from the dialogue from the Dracula novel actually might plug in. And a lot of it worked. Even if it didn't work intentionally for the scene it was in, I could take a line and put it in there. And since it was all public domain material, there was, no reason not to. But I also had to write a lot of stuff myself. I read a lot of Shakespeare. I read all kinds of different things I could get my hands on, and that was almost the part that I think I kind of enjoyed the most, was writing the dialogue. It was really fun and very satisfying.
And what goes through your mind? Like, I love to talk about the historical version of Vlad the Impaler. We've had Victor Foya that's wrote some fantasy books about him on, and there's been Michelle Desrochers, but it's kind of a rare subject to get into, but I love getting into it. But as far as I like the Nosferatu from Eggers, and every movie he's done, I've enjoyed a lot. And but he seemed to try to keep Vlad in there a lot, and because the guy looked like Vlad a lot, didn't he?
I don't know if that's the actual mythology. I don't know if the mythology was intentional or not. I have a lot of questions about the Eggers version. I'd love it if there was a deluxe, like 3-4 hour version of it and lots of deleted scenes. I have no idea. I think that he made some really interesting decisions that ended up being really different from everything that I did. But I in my research, I didn't do any of the Vlad the Impaler stuff. For me, because we're talking, I think, about the origin of Dracula, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So do you know what Scholomance is?
Yeah, that's so weird, because I ask people that question all the time, and a lot of people don't know. But I've asked Stephen Flowers, which is a guy from Temple of Set and like a rune master, and I've talked about it, but a lot of people don't know. He didn't, but it's very interesting. What do you know about it?
Well, what I understand about it, so I think Eggers and I were reading. I can tell we were both reading Montague Summers, and Montague Summers was a guy that wrote. He was a turn of the century guy who believed in. He wrote books about.
I have one of his books on hardcover.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He wrote books about werewolves, vampires, and the devil and stuff, and he believed in that stuff apparently. And I think I can't remember if that's where I heard about Scholomance, but anyways, the way I understand it is that in like the 1400s.
What are y'all doing? Sorry, dogs. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, dog.
Scholomance was the school run by the devil who trained 11. He had 11 students, and he trained them all to be vampire. And I might be not getting this correct, but trained them to be vampires, control the weather, and ride dragons. And they had dragons, at least a dragon or dragons in this lake. And I know the lake is a real place in Romania, I believe. I don't know where the myth of this school came from exactly, but he then took the 11th student for his own, whatever that means. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something like I don't know exactly the numbers 9 or 6 or 11. I don't remember, but somebody has to stay behind with the devil,
right?
Or something like that. It's kind of a weird thing that they don't seem like there's any roots to it. Like I've searched for it, asked people, and trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out where it is. I'm just kidding. I'm not. But there's not much to it, but it's weird.
Well, it doesn't that also mean there's 9 other people out there who are just like Dracula? I mean, if Dracula was one of 10, I think it's really interesting.
Hasn't been used a lot for fiction. There's some weird fantasy book about it, but it doesn't even seem that has that name, but it doesn't seem like it mentions any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd never heard that before.
I've always liked the name.
Yeah. I mean, I did all kinds of research, and some stuff was really hard to research. One of the things I found was that the word vampire goes way back. So I put that in one of the scenes where the Dr. Bulwer or Professor Bulwer, he's basically the Van Helsing character, explains how the people think that the word vampire is a Romanian word, but it actually goes back. It predates ancient Greece. So there's vampire myths from a long time ago. Not that I'm an expert. I mean, I was kind of working fast and loose with the material. I think Bram Stoker probably did the same thing, and the people who made Nosferatu were clearly working some of their own ideas into things as well. The thing that drives me a little crazy about the company that made Nosferatu is that, so they got sued by Bram Stoker's widow for copyright. Apparently they must have thought Dracula the novel was in the public domain, and then found out the hard way that it wasn't. And Nosferatu was lost for a long time because they ordered all the copies destroyed, and luckily someone hid one away, and it resurfaced, I think, in the 60s. So It's only recently that we were able to see it again. But they had apparently this was supposed to be the first of many films that they were going to make that all had occult and supernatural stories or themes going on, and I have never been able to figure out what else it was that they planned on making. Really weird.
I know he did False. That was pretty weird. That's one I'm familiar with. False.
Right. That was before Nosferatu, though, wasn't it? Or
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I might not know what I'm talking about.
There's some others of his that I haven't seen.
Faust is incredible.
What is it?
Faust is incredible.
Oh, False. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's creepy, really.
Was I pronouncing it wrong? Is it Faust?
I think that's right.
It's Faust. Yeah, Faust.
Yeah. That whole devil on
that's the one like famous artist, Arthur Wright or whatever from ancient times that people usually get his name right. It's Van Gogh that people get wrong. It's spelled G-O-G-H, but it's pronounced like cough, except with a G. So it's Van Gogh, but everyone calls him Van Gogh or Van Gogh. It's Van Gogh, like G-O-F-F. If you anglicize it would be G-O-F-F, not G-O-G-H or G-O-U-H.
That makes sense.
Hold on, Wham's saying I need a link, but Wham's next Friday.
Yeah.
So I need to
She can
tell
pop
her.
in if she wants. I mean, she likes vampire stuff too, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's
So,
okay. I'm just
well,
gonna tell her.
well, if you want, go ahead. If you want to message her, I got a question for Todd. So one of the things that's always bothered me, particularly with the recent what they've done with the Star Trek universe, when they get what they call the JJ verse or the the alter verse, whatever.
In time.
He had a chance to reset the clock.
Yep.
Took Star Trek and they pulled it out of the timeline and they put it over here.
Yep.
And he redid Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And it's like, what the hell? You want to curse at the dude? You have an entire universe at your fingertips to create. So, knowing that, did you know that as soon as you found out you had free reign?
Yeah.
Nosferatu's out in the domain.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want. There's
Right.
80 years?
Yeah.
At least 80 years worth of vampire lore in movies, not just books.
Right.
And each movie it gets different. There's a new power. Some powers aren't really a part of the real actual vampire lore, but they're added in to beef up the movie, franchise version.
Right.
But you got pretty much two schools of vision. You got the ugly vampires. You got the pretty vampires. That's when Christopher Lee and those guys come in.
Yeah.
So knowing you could take this Nosferatu and go and remake it, what did you do? Did you add anything? Did you take anything out? Please say you made it better. Let the audience know.
Well, I wouldn't. The making it better implies that there was something wrong with it in the first place, and I don't. So, like, the difference between me and J.J. Abrams is that it's Alex Kurtzman really is that they both hate Star Trek. They don't like Star Trek. They think Star Trek needs to be fixed, and I think that is fundamentally where that whole thing went wrong. The 2009 Star Trek, I love that movie. I think it's
a good movie.
Afterwards, what a great opportunity, and for them to have driven it into a ditch the way that they have is really unconscionable. But
it is.
But I on the other hand, I get the temptation of, oh, you can take this and do whatever you want with it. But I like the philosophy of change nothing, improve everything.
So good. That's my philosophy as well.
Yeah. It's
and when I said by make it better, I didn't mean make. I mean, it's a cool story to begin with, but it's a 300-year-old story, 400-year-old story. So you a lot of references in. So even if you and I and Jeffrey got the money together and we did a free domain, Three Musketeers, because it's out in the public domain. If we did the Three Musketeers, we did it the correct way. The correct way isn't like in the books or the movies. The correct way is. D'Artagnan didn't go to France to join the Musketeers.
Right.
D'Artagnan was a Musketeer, the historical dude, and his cousins came to Paris to join him.
Right.
Dumas flipped it all, and he flipped the whole script, and it's still a good story. Mm-hmm. But if you made it period piece, kids today would not get some of the jokes and the references. Guys like you and I go to Renaissance festivals and like the old school kind of entertainment. You get jokes that are 300 years old. Yeah. But when you're a kid who likes to walk through the stores like this with a cell phone, subtle jokes just boom. So you have to you have to bring it to the modern, and that's what I meant by make it better.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you want it to be entertaining or whatever. I would say what I will say is I think my book is a crowd pleaser. I think the Eggers version, I think he really did his own version of Nosferatu, and I think it's great. But one thing I might not call it is a crowd pleaser, which is not a criticism. It's just totally different. It's so different than what I expected. But to answer your question, so yeah, I mean, first of all, there's things that don't work in comics that work on film, and I had a lot of decisions to make when I really started thinking through, because the first thing I thought of was like, well, if I've got to have the iconic moments. So I've got to have like the shadow moving along the wall at the end where he's
Hey Joe.
And the scene where he's on the boat, but also, okay, so a really good example is where he rises up out of the coffin flat as a board. Remember that in the ship's hold?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That that is pretty cool.
But
That's an old like
it
vaudeville
is, but
magician's
it
trick though, so
doesn't
it's
work in
nice.
comics, though. It doesn't work in comics.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. And what I didn't want to do was like a photocopy of stills from the film. So I had to think through, because that was a real challenge. I thought, well, how do I make this work? And so when you see what I did, I basically, the coffin blows open, and then he sort of forms out of a smoke. And he starts out as a skeleton, and sort of tendrils form.
Kind of materialize inside out.
Sort of. I mean, it might be easier to show. I don't know
Yeah.
if you want me to, but
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
you know, also I put H.P. Lovecraft stuff in there.
Oh,
'Cause
nice.
yeah. So that's my sequence of him. See if the coffin exploding, and then I also did something. So he always has his eyes bug-eyed open, and I
Show us
made
the picture on the right.
yeah.
Okay, the next one. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
I made a point.
Yeah.
Sure, his eyes were
Looks
closed,
good.
because
Dude, you drew that? That's wicked cool.
I did, but I made
That's
it
wicked cool.
making sure his eyes were closed because I wanted them to suddenly open and have that be a scary moment, And that's
Well,
that's
yeah,
from,
well, and one thing you could do with the comic that you can't do in well, you can with certain special
They're-
effects, but it's
they're
just
just
bad for the actor's eyes.
Yeah.
Something that's undead may not be able to. You may not be able to close his eyes. His eyes may that the Hollywood myth is whenever someone dies, they always go.
sure, of course.
If you ever had to put an animal down, it's the exact opposite. The doctors tell you as soon as the life cessates, that the eyes begin to bug out. So
Yeah.
you kind of expect that they to have kind of that sunken in eyeball effect.
Yeah.
Frankenstein has it. The Mummy should have had it, but he didn't. They kind of gave it to the Wolfman, but they kind of have to, because you got to get those brow ridges out for the Wolfman
Yeah.
effect. But yeah, so in the comic books, you can do that kind of thing. Like, you can always be his eyes out and bugged out. But in the movie, it's like, all right, cut. All right, get some saline solution, and you got to hold it back down and wait 10 minutes or whatever. But
So the vampire, it's very alluring, because when I was 17, I went through chemo, and during chemo, I'm fine now, but I went through testicular cancer and all that. And several years later, my dad died. But during chemo, I was reading those Anne Rice books, and that was kind of, I think it was, I don't know if I needed to read those during chemo, but I did. And when I went back to school, kids called me a vampire and a Satanist, because I probably looked like Nosferatu. I wore black. I was pale. Now I look like the fatter Walmart version of Nosferatu. I'm chubby Nosferatu, Nostalgia-ratu, like Spenguli. But
Do you think they meant that as an insult back then? Because I would take that.
I think it was out of fear. Kids were. I think it was insulting and out of fear. Like, But some mean kids said I had AIDS. Like, I was a virgin that just went through testicular cancer, and some little jackoff has to say I had AIDS. It's like, that's kids for you. No wonder there's crazy, spree shooters and stuff.
Yeah,
kids. It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. But you're
Appreciate
doing
it.
And
I'm still kicking.
Yeah.
Capricorn. So
great. Especially
Capricorn's got weird devil shit, they say. That's what all the tarot people say.
It's them goat legs, man.
I don't know. Yes, we're goats. Wow. But what about the vampire was alluring to you? And I think part of me grasped onto that immortal concept of living forever, and the sexuality. I grasped onto it because I was dying. It spread to my stomach and lungs. It was like, what else? That was the only thing to hold on to.
Yeah.
And it stuck with me on some weird level. But what about the vampire for you?
For me?
Yeah.
I love how versatile it is. And
are you a vampire? Are you a vampire, sir?
It's probably the first monster I ever was aware of. I probably saw the Count on Sesame Street.
Yeah,
Uh,
very much. Yeah, the same. Or it could
Oh,
be. Yeah, no, it had to be him. Maybe Count Chocula
love
later on for
him.
later kids. But yeah.
Love the count.
I'm
I
sorry.
saw your art, by the way. It was very cool with Big Bird fighting the count and stuff. And
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
yeah,
those
it's
are
in the
very fun.
folder. Jay, did you get that open? Those drop files?
It didn't work in my phone. Let me try in here. I came down and
You
I
get it
forgot all about.
open and see if he can put up some of this stuff, right? It's okay to show it.
It's okay to show it, but I don't know if he can open it because I know I connect
Oh, well,
you.
I sent it to him. I was like, I don't know if you can open this, but
Yeah, let me try.
because I wanted him to see it so he can know what, ask questions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he may not be able to open it. I have it. It's just I suck at doing technical things. I can do it though if I need to.
Yeah, I would
Let me see.
open it. But
Oh, I think I saw what you talking about. Sesame Kaiju.
yep, that's
Yeah.
it. Maybe you can open it.
Yeah, but we always get secret stuff. We keep it top secret. We get publishers send us PDF of books and stuff, so we have to be very careful. We're very careful.
Mm.
All right. Well, I got. It looks like the Count versus Kermit as. Oh, what's the turtle monster?
Now, what he can show though? Can he show that stuff? Is that okay?
Yeah. Gamera.
Okay.
Gamera. Yeah, Gamera. Yeah.
That is the other Godzilla. The kinder, gentler Godzilla.
I love the Count though. It's always creepy how like Vlad the Impaler Dracula is on Sesame Street. You know, the baby eater that drinks blood, and he's 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nika has a new Count figure I really want to get, and that's the only one I would probably buy. But it's of the Count. Nika just put out a figure of the Count.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
It looks good. Yeah,
Oh, well, 100% is a little big.
Yeah,
We can't make it a little bigger for the
I would
audience.
get a Count tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, I drew these for my nephew and they took off.
Okay, there we go. Very, very cool. And so this was it was a manga or what?
No, these were just a bunch of prints that so my nephew and I were watching the old Godzillas when he was little, and he got a little spooked when we watched Godzilla versus King Kong, and I had to catch myself and not laugh, because I knew it wasn't funny for him, but it was a little funny for me. And I couldn't stop thinking though I thought, God, it's so funny that he's spooked by it because Godzilla looks like Cookie Monster to me. And so I had a comic book show coming up, and I had all these like prints and different things I was making, stuff that I thought people would be into, like Batman, Spider-Man. And I happened to do a recreation of Godzilla versus Monster Zero, but with Cookie Monster and Big Bird and Grover. Super Grover was Rodan, and Bert and Ernie are in there. And I took it to this comic book show in Seattle, and I tend to not pay attention to social media when I'm, doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed it totally exploded. It went viral, as they say, and I ended up getting an offer from a company called Pop Killer, which is a Japanese retailer down in Los Angeles in Little Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked if they could sell T-shirts of my designs. So I did the Big Bird one, I did this Gamera and the Count one, and we just released a Godzilla versus King Kong one. That they should be in the folder.
They are, yeah. Let me
Yeah.
go back and I can.
I mean, if you want, but you can go to popkiller.com.
Whoops.
It's always good to have visuals on the show. People bring, show visuals and bring files. It helps.
Yeah, that one was really fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was just watching Muppets Treasure Island and the new Muppets with Seth Rogen and stuff, and hopefully it will take off. But they're measuring how many pilot views there were going to be to determine if they made a season of it. It's on Disney. A new Muppet show.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, I heard it was coming back. That's awesome. All right,
Yeah.
so this is the I guess it's Cookie Monster is Godzilla. Who's Grover? Oh no, Grover's Godzilla. Who was the blue guy? King Kong?
Cookie Monster is King Kong, and Grover
Okay.
is, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's look at the other one. This is the Big Bird. Big Bird is Ghidorah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my
That's
God,
the most
that's
popular.
awesome. That is
People.
awesome.
That was the one that
Those are
started.
own shirts that people can buy. The
Uh-huh.
shirts. That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
I sell prints of them at
So
shows.
Grover is Rodan.
Yeah,
Big Bird
people love.
is Ghidorah, and
Yeah,
then Cookie Monster Godzilla here, and,
yeah,
and then there's the EDF right there.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. People just do a double take. They walk by my take.
That's the kind of stuff people gobble up. I mean, if you go, I don't know
We
how many like conventions you go to, but if you go to like I frequented Shore Leave the most, but I've gone to Dragon Con, a
yeah,
few others up and down the East Coast.
yeah.
You go into the dealers' rooms and the art rooms. There's fan art out there that is fantastic, like this, and people
Oh
will.
yeah,
I mean, you can make like a little 3x5 color card like this off of a really excellent printer and sell them for $20 and $30. It costs you probably 10 cents in ink and paper.
yep, yeah. No, I sold a ton of them in Seattle just last week. I was at
Cool.
Emerald City Comic Con, and yeah, people ate it up. And the good thing is that it caught their attention, and then they were, I was like, hey, this is my Nosferatu graphic novel, by the way. And so I ended up selling out of all this stuff. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's a good thing. I've always given people advice when they say my friends knew that I was a con goer from way back. And they're like, hey, we're going to a so-and-so convention. Can you give us any hints? What should we do first? I was like, look, this is what you do. Get the map. Get the map
Hmm.
first and get the schedule. See where all the rooms are of the things that interest you the most, and see what times you have to get to and from. If you want to do anything important like that. If you just want to, wander around, don't buy a damn thing until Sunday morning. But go buy that thing 2 or 3
Yeah.
times on Friday, 2 or 3 times on Saturday, and then come back on Sunday. If it's still there and that guy's backing up, say, hey, how much for that? He'll give it to you for a steal. Because you know why?
Mhm.
He doesn't want to carry all that stuff back home.
Oh yeah, yeah. Carrying hardcover books to a convention, both Austin and Seattle, was a whole different animal for me. Which is why I am hoping that Nosferatu gets picked up by a publisher soon. We'll just have to wait and see. But there's
That'd be
certainly
awesome.
some interest, and I'm optimistic about it.
Well,
It's-
old things come back around again. A lot of the stuff from the '80s is making a comeback. I don't see why Nosferatu can't.
Oh, yeah.
The artwork in the book is fantastic. So I mean, I
Thanks.
don't know if you're planning to get like an animated
Nosferatu has like
series
a
or an animated
weird.
movie, but you definitely if somebody does a movie and they don't hire you to do the sequential screen, oh God, what do you call it? The things, the
Storyboards?
artwork. Thany you. The storyboards.
Of
I have a
Nosferatu.
degree in film production, and it's all just it erased from my brain just then. But yeah, if they don't hire, if anyone who's doing a Nosferatu out there does not hire you to do their storyboards, they are doing them a disservice. They're fantastic arts. So yeah, and you need that to do a decent movie. If you really don't plot out every scene and everything you want to
Yeah.
film, you'll never capture it.
I mean,
And,
they already have the Eggers movie, so making another Nosferatu anytime soon seems a little hard to.
Well, there are other venues like television and
Did you see-
miniseries
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. Yeah. So
Did you see the Doug Jones one they did? It wasn't the greatest, but I watched it. It was a Doug Jones Nosferatu they did. It was a Doug Jones Nosferatu. It was kind of, I'll have to find the name of it for you. It wasn't something big. It was just kind of like a weird
like a
movie
whole-
they made. Yeah, it was a movie. I'll find the name of it for you.
Yeah,
I actually found it on a torrent site. I think it's on Amazon.
that's a total surprise to me.
It was to me too. But
'Cause
let
I
me
went-
see if I'll find it. It's called Nosferatu by David Lee Fisher, 2023, and Doug Jones is Nosferatu in it. It's kind of one of those that, I mean, we may actually like it more than most people, but it has kind of mixed reviews. I don't know if it did that well, but I don't, a lot of that stuff's still really good.
But when I did this, I went through, the first thing I did is I went on Kickstarter because I just thought, well, somebody else has got to have this idea. So I didn't want to, you know, I had to weigh like whether I'd want to compete with another person making a Nosferatu book or movie, and I'm really surprised that didn't come up because I absolutely know who Doug Jones is. Like that's really interesting, huh?
It's on
Oh wow.
Amazon. It's called Nosferatu: A Symphony of Horror,
Huh.
and it came out. This is 2024, but it's on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Here's an interesting image of the very thing we're talking about, Nosferatu.
Yep.
Todd, are you familiar with an
Love
artist
that.
named Ralph Steadman?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
This looks like an extremely refined Ralph Steadman.
But who is that? That's you or that's somebody else, isn't it?
That's an interesting comparison.
Ralph Steadman was the illustrator for all of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson's books, Fear and Loathing to
Yeah.
Las Vegas, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, etc., the Shark
Yeah.
Hunt, all that. I only say that because there's all the like the is it the cloak rats or I don't know what kind of creatures they're flying behind him. It looks
Rats.
Ralph it looks kind of like the bats that Ralph Steadman was doing for the Fear and
That's
Loathing
a-
books.
Yeah.
That's your cover though, but there is a cover that's kind of like that from someone else too, and that's kind of in that style. I know that I've seen a weird Nosferatu cover. The art's kind of in that kind of it's a weirder, older one, but I'd have to find it. But that's your cover, right? That's definitely your art, right?
Yeah.
It is, but it's a remake of the original poster. So it's based on someone else's art.
That's probably what I'm talking about. Is the original?
Oh, okay. Well, it's
Could be.
great.
It's still a very Ralph Steadman like. I mean, it's a compliment. I'm not, I'm not cutting the artwork at all.
When it comes to Gothic horror, is there anybody else you want to do you really love as much as Nosferatu? I know Nosferatu has like a metal and punk following. Like I had a White Wolf Vampire the Masquerade Nosferatu shirt in 9th grade.
Mm.
I missed that shirt. but is there any other ones that appeal to you as much as Nosferatu?
Oh yeah, I mean, but it gets obscure at that point. I mean, what I would love to. So the further back where this started was I'd always been into Salem's Lot, but I didn't read the novel until the 90s, and I thought, God, wouldn't it be cool to do an adaptation of it? But it's not in the public domain. But I also had been hearing this name H.P. Lovecraft, and I started realizing that I really enjoyed H.P. Lovecraft stories, that they're also in the public domain. And I thought, well, I can't do Stephen King, but I could do H.P. Lovecraft. And I would love to do The Dreams in the Witch House someday. I would love to do any Lovecraft story, frankly. But The Dreams in the Witch House is the one that really gets me, is like all the things I love about Lovecraft. The only problem is it's long. So I would like to do short stories. They'd be easier to adopt. And so one of the things that happened when I kind of fell in love with Lovecraft's work was I started thinking, well, who influenced him? And that's when I discovered that there were all these older ghost story authors out there whose work really held up. Lovecraft wasn't the only one, and that he was influenced by, as much as he was an influence on others that came after him. M.R. James is a good example. He was somebody who was a big influence on Lovecraft, and he's probably my favorite, but there's a lot. Yeah.
And the Graveyard Gallery, that's your new project, right? That's the 50 ghost authors and definitely get into that more. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of those ghost authors. Like the only one I think of is like Shirley Jackson and stuff like that, but I know there's like a million of them.
I love Shirley. Well, again, I would kill to adopt some Shirley Jackson. In fact, one of the things I started, because I started thinking, so Nosferatu, I started thinking of authors. It didn't occur to me that there were films in the public domain. So the first project I started doing was a short story by Shirley Jackson, and I did the character designs. It was only like 10, 20 pages, but I got it laid out and pretty ready to go, and then all of a sudden I realized it wasn't in the public domain, and I was like, I can't believe I let myself get this far down the road. But I also started thinking, well, it can't be that hard to, who has the rights to these that could give me permission? And I
Well,
still,
also in some cases, I do believe it's something like 80 years, but it's something after when it goes
yeah,
if the estate isn't
not really
active
Jack,
after like 80 years, you
not
can
been,
it can be purchased for like and it's like a simple fee like 60 or 70 bucks at a patent office, I think, something to
huh,
that effect, and then it can become yours. But you have to, yeah, you do have to keep an eye on that thing. That's what killed the movie Heavy Metal, is they put all this great music in there and they didn't go and pay for any copyrights, and they went ahead and just premiered the damn thing, and then all these bands were like, I think for the exception of Devo, all the bands that were on there were like, wait a minute, where's our cut? Devo was just happy to get their
yeah,
stuff out in the national domain, but everybody else was like, wait a minute.
well, yeah, oh man, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
When did it come out? I mean, it came back. It came to DVD like in the 90s, I think 93, 4, 5, 6.
What movie? What movie?
Heavy Metal.
Heavy Metal.
Oh yeah.
I think it came
Love
out in 77. It was quite a
Love
while.
the soundtrack.
Yeah, the movie
Love-
was 77, 78, but it didn't come. It didn't come out onto video or disc
Oh,
until like 96 or 93, somewhere in the 90s, when they had to go through. They went through like 20 years of lawsuits, and once they got everybody paid off and happy, they were able to produce it as a DVD or VHS. I think it came out in VHS probably first, and then DVD later.
yeah. I used to go to bootleg conventions of
Mhm.
for music and videos, and
It was the only way you could see it was at a Star Trek convention in a bootleg
Oh, yeah.
theater. Yeah.
yeah, it's lots of movies that are still. I think Something Wicked This Way only came out on streaming, and Disney just last like 6 months. But I think it was impossible to find before that.
It's not that it was impossible to find. Disney is notorious for this, and especially with their like DVD and their VHS videotape clubs. Like it's like the Columbia Book Club. They take movies and they vault them.
Yeah.
They don't produce any kind of merchandise, nothing at all. No T-shirts, no toys, knickknacks, no DVDs, movies, nothing. And then they'll roll that out of the vault, and they'll take another few selections that are current at that same time, and they'll vault them. And again, no merchandise, you'll hear nothing for 10 years, 5 years, 4 years. I don't know what their formula is. And then they'll unvault that and then vault some more. Why? I don't know. I guess it makes
they're
Yeah,
idiots.
demand. I don't know.
A movie they did weird, and Disney didn't do this movie, but that's really hard to find. And if you find it, it's expensive. Is Cocoon 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
That's-
hard to find
movie.
I got him.
with Ron Howard.
I've never seen Cocoon.
Really?
I have never
You need
seen
to
it.
see it.
I never thought about it until just now.
It's Ron Howard, little old people in a swimming pool and like being aliens.
Right.
And
Steve
surprisingly,
Gutenberg.
Steve Gutenberg is
Yeah.
more known for his like slapstick comedy and his goofiness in like the police movies,
Right.
or Police Academy movies rather. He's actually quite good as kind of a semi-serious. I mean, he's kind of funny, but he's not like comic-y. He's not comically or comic. He's not a comedian in this movie,
Mhm.
and he's not slapsticky. But there are fun parts of it, and it's fun to see a comic do that. I mean, very few of them are able to go from. Jim Carrey did it with that one movie, was it 23 or whatever, and he got kudos for it. But it's very hard to go from being, a serious slapstick comic like Jim Carrey, and then go into like a Shakespearean role and nail it and get an award for it. And I think Steve Gutenberg nailed it on those two movies.
Totally.
And Todd, what are some of the authors of the Ghosts Project? What is it? Is it a comic, or what is a comic like a graphic novel?
It's just a picture book.
Okay.
And so where it came about was that I developed a friendship with the writer Warren Ellis, who wrote comics like Planetary and The Authority. He also wrote all of Castlevania on Netflix. That's his anime.
Those are good.
Yeah, and he's a big Nosferatu fan. And so when I did my Kickstarter for Nosferatu, he plugged it in his news. He has a fairly well-known newsletter, I believe. And so I messaged him on social media to say thank you, but also we had something in common, which was that he did a comic called Global Frequency, and my friend who passed away, unfortunately, Jason Pearson, was an artist who wrote, each issue was drawn by a different artist. And Jason drew one of the issues, and he based me and my friend Dave, we were the models for the villains. And so I messaged him and said, thanks for plugging my book. By the way, I was one of your villains was based off of me. And so we started talking, and he recently said if I wanted a sketchbook spot in his newsletter. He knows that I do a lot of artwork that I just draw all the time. And he knew that there's a lot of artwork that people don't see. Like if I posted all my artwork, I'd kind of spam people on Instagram. I probably should get over that and just post more anyways. But anyways, so I thought about it, and I thought, well, there's two things because I wanted a theme. The two things I love drawing, and I love drawing for fun. I draw frames, like Gothic frames of a picture frame or a poster frame or whatever. And I enjoy drawing portraits of these old ghost story authors that I feel have kind of been forgotten or nobody ever knew in the first place. Because I started collecting books that got really obscure stuff. So like here's one, Tales of the Mysterious and Macabre by Algernon Blackwood. And I just started grabbing books like this and reading different stories. And
nice.
a lot of them are authors I've never heard of before or since. M.R. James. And I started keeping notes. I started writing down the stories that I like. I have like bookshelves full of these.
I used to have quite a few books, but they did not survive the culling from one house to the other, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Algernon Blackwood, that's a big one. They did one, Wendigo. I think we've talked about that on some of the Skinwalker shows. Wendigo, like there's some story.
Yeah.
I think my Wendigo book did make it.
He did a story. Well, it's pronounced? I assume it's pronounced
Algernon Blackwood. I don't know. I don't. Wendigo.
Yeah.
It's Wendigo. Yeah.
That's one of the
Wendigo
stories is the Wendigo. Yeah, it's great stuff.
I'm from Georgia, so Wendigo.
I do have a good question for you. So, it seems to me, I do like a good few horror movies. Not so much into the literature. I have an art background. I went to Savannah College for Art and Design. I have degrees in film and video production and still photography. I also paint, but it seems to me the formula, at least for Hollywood, is not the real monsters don't always sell. I mean, Godzilla, it's a hard sell no matter what. It doesn't matter how bad the movie is. People will go see it. Yeah. Godzilla versus Megalon, hands down, the worst Godzilla movie on the planet. But I love it. It's my favorite Godzilla movie because my cousin took me and my brother in at the time, we had a family trucking company. So he drove me and my brother in our family's cab. It had our last name on the side of the doors. Drove us to the movie to watch the movie theater in his truck to watch it. Great movie, horrible movie. But anyway, it seems to me the monsters that sell the best in Hollywood are the real monsters, the natural monsters. Jaws, Cujo, the pet, the I don't know the cat's name in Pet Cemetery, but any of the animals in Pet Cemetery do the same thing. It seems that really is what gets people's back hairs standing on endwise, rather than like the gooey oozy monster that comes around the corner and goes boo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have to wonder why people like horror in the first place. And I certainly wondered. And I know a lot of people that want nothing to do with horror, and it makes sense. It's not for everybody. But I think for some people, it's a way to explore fears in a safe. You wouldn't want to be in that situation in real life, but seeing it on film and being able to explore it safely is probably has at least something to do with it. And the more realistic or relatable the threat, then that makes sense. Of we've all been in the ocean and wonder if there's something with giant teeth that's gonna try to bite us.
Yeah.
I know. I
That's
know.
why I don't. That's why I will not go into the oceans ever again. We saw Jaws when we were kids. My parents, God bless them, they probably should never have taken us to it. But it was kind of a hard sell. We were actually, it was 77 is when it came out. We were in the theater watching Peter Graves. We were watching Peter Graves in a movie called, it's called something else now, but in the movie theater it was called Man, Myths, and Monsters. And I kind of like forced my dad to take the family there because I started researching UFOs and Bigfoot when I was like 10. And so 1977, I was 11. So I was a good year into my studies.
Yeah.
But I made my dad take the family to this movie. We're watching this movie, and my sister, I think, was 3 or 4 at the time. And she said, I got to go to the bathroom. My mom let her go to the bathroom. And so this was when they had 3 movie theaters in one building. It used to be only one. This was a big thing back in the day. There were 3 movie theaters in this one building. So my sister leaves, and she's gone for like 40 minutes. And it's finally she comes running back and says, Daddy, I just saw this naked woman getting eaten by a shark. That Sunday afternoon, we were in the theater next door to that when we were in watching Jaws, which is the only reason why my dad took us to see it, because he wanted to see the naked lady get gobbled up. Plus, he had also read the book, which I found out years later.
Oh, that's interesting.
But we were too young for that movie. They didn't realize there was no previews that were dark enough to say, don't. I mean, when that first kid's leg comes off, it was like my mom was like, "What?" to my little sister right away. My brother and my brother and I were like, "Wow."
Yeah.
But the horror of it, then the artistic of it, I when I go to a movie like that, I look at the artistic of the gore and the art of the story and the scare. Does it scare me, or is it just a gore effect?
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
So but I also, from that love of wow, I got scared, but how did they do that? How did they cut that dude's hand? The first one that I really found out first, my first real special effect I investigated was Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
The dismemberment of in the original, they've cut it out of most, especially on TV now. They've cut it out, but in the original movie, the one I saw when I was a kid, both in the theater and on the television, when the blue monkeys come down, they take the Scarecrow and they go and they rip him in half, and then you see his legs like 3 feet away kicking like this, and his body 3 feet away doing this, because they got another actor with the legs doing. So I found out how they did that special effect out of pure curiosity for the art of how did they make this guy disappear and get cut in half like that.
Right.
I found out as a little kid, and from that point on, I've been fascinated in trying to find out how they do the gore effects. So I know how to do a few, not all, but a few good ones.
I love movie magic. I love that stuff. I love how I
have a good personal movie magic story for you if you like.
Sure.
I was doing my senior thesis for video. It was going to be like a comic book hero called the Cudgelist, who gets killed and gets magical powers, and he can pull weapons off of his t-shirt, that weapons that he teaches in the martial arts school. So he can pull a pair of nunchucks and a tonfa, and they become real. And it's a whole convoluted story. But anyway, for the ending of it, he gets into a fight with the main bad guy, and he kills him with a war hammer and smashes his skull open. Okay. And the inspiration for that was the original Toxic Avenger and the Camaro. They run over the kid's head. Still to this day, I don't know how they did that one. I'm pretty sure it was a watermelon, but I'm not positive. It's pretty good looking though. It's pretty close to. It was bad, gross, but I wanted to have a similar effect, but I wanted it to be more realistic. So I took a bunch of fruits, coconuts, melons, honeydews, the brown ones, the green ones, small watermelons, just to figure out what would be the best thing to find that makes that head get cracked and break open. And it wasn't coconut, and it was the brown one. I think it's the one that's brown outside and orange inside. Is it the honeydew?
Okay.
I don't remember. Anyway, but it was actually green inside. So I cut the top off, cored it like a pumpkin, filled it with Caro blood, which is just canola oil with coloring in it.
Right.
Put cauliflower in the blood, and then capped it with railroad spikes. and we put a wig on it, put a dummy's body behind it. And I have this roommate who's 6'4", big dude. And I had a real Warhammer. It was made out of metal. And I said, all right, ready, action, hit it. Because this is a special effects test. I had to make sure it worked. So this was for my video class to just make sure my teacher knew I was doing work on my movie. So my roommate goes, wham, and clobbers this melon. Nothing.
Oh.
Barely a sound. I'm like, you're kidding. I mean, I got this. He's got this big, 4-pound piece of steel. All right, I hit it again. Wham! And it kind of wiggled a little. I'm like, didn't work. Like, one more time. Third strike, it cracked like an egg, which is what I was looking for. And it opened up, which I was not looking for right away. I just wanted it to look like the head just went and broke open, right?
Yeah.
Well, it split open like an egg, and the cauliflower came and fell out. And then all the blood came out behind it. And we were like, high five, cut, take. I mean, I thought we were going to be doing this for like 30 or 40 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. It was like 10 minutes of setup, 3 strikes. I'm like, my homework's done, dude. Let's go get wasted. I showed the video to the class because we had to for critique.
Mm-hmm.
I played it. All the girls in the room went, ew! And I went, thank you. And I sat down. And my teacher's like,
that's
come
what you
back
want.
up here. And I'm like, what? He's like, you need a critique. I'm like, no, I don't. I got my reaction. You can say all you want. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
I got what I needed. And I got an A for the day, but wound up never making the movie because my actor on the first day of filming said, I don't want to be in your movie. I'm like, what? Yeah, sucked. But I still have the script.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's good. So tell us, Todd, about the ghost story more. Like, it's going to be a picture book of just like art from the covers, or I mean, is the ghost story going to be in it too, or how's it going to be?
No. What it is it's just going to be portraits of different people, because I feel like these authors have all been forgotten or nobody knew about them in the first place. So
for example, the guys I have on the screen here, is this where we're going? Those guys?
Yeah, there you go. You ever heard of Gordon McCraig?
I have not.
I have not either, but I'm willing to learn.
Why I'm making this book. So
I love it. That looks really good. Yeah. What about the guy that did Great God Pan? I always hear of that story. Arthur McMahon. Was it Great God Arthur McMahon or something like that?
Well, I have so many names that I could do like 3 of these books easily. I have 50 names so far, and I
should just keep doing them if it's successful.
Yeah. I can't.
Are you gonna do Kickstarter or what?
Yeah, that's my guess. Is I'm probably gonna do a Kickstarter in the fall. But I have all the names written down. It was a question of settling on them, but also it was a question of whether there's any evidence that they ever exist in the first place. Like I have one story that there's no photos, there's no information. I have no idea who this person was, other than this one story that was published in a, some Weird Tales magazine or book or something. I don't even remember. Like, I've been writing these stories down for like 10 years. And it's just like, oh, this was a good story. And I have pages and pages and pages and pages of notes. And the 50 I have here are just me trying to whittle it down to something manageable. So the criteria is they have to be deceased, and they have to have written something that was qualifies as like supernatural horror-ish. But I frankly also have to be able to find some sort of photograph of them so that I know what they look like. Because I can't make up what they look like. And then I, luckily I also have the story written down of what I read that I really enjoyed. So like Gordon McCraig, he wrote The Case of the Sinister Shape. There's another one though. So something that they did back then that people may or may not be aware of is that a lot of these writers also had like supernatural like detectives. That was a big thing at the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm.
I think H.P. Lovecraft even had his own version.
Well, I mean, the big ones I can think of are Sherlock Holmes. What's
Yes,
Chan? Is it Chan, the Asian
but
one?
those are detectives. They're not supernatural detectives.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, one might say with Sherlock Holmes is, and everyone gets it wrong. He doesn't do deductive reasoning; it's abductive reasoning.
Yeah,
But what he does do is pretty fascinating. I mean, like he looks in the room and goes, I mean, it clicks out the things that he needs. Like, oh yeah, I know exactly what happened in here. I mean, that's kind of a superpower. They did do Batman a disservice in giving him that as well. I don't know if you're recently aware of this, but they gave Batman a superpower, which is he has a hyper analytical brain, which is what makes him a great detective. And I'm like, why? I mean, that detracts from the entire 70 freaking years of history of Batman alone, where as a kid he goes out and trains himself to be a detective to find the guys who killed his parents. You just ruined it by giving him a superpower.
Yeah, he's hyper motivated, is what he is.
Yes, exactly. That's probably a better superpower.
And really good at and he's I mean, like he's and he's rich, so he makes lots of cool stuff.
Yes.
But I mean, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy that wrote Sherlock Holmes, he did lots of supernatural stories. So one of the other things I'm doing with my list is I'm putting names on there that people haven't heard of, but I'm also putting names on there that people have heard of. So like Mary Shelley is on there. She wrote a story called The Mortal Immortal. So in other words, I'm trying to point out that these people wrote things more than what they're famous for. And it's just things that I enjoy, and they're obscure. And I just want to share with people, and it's something I can kind of do in my spare time. And, it gives me a certain cohesiveness. So when Warren puts this in his newsletter, which I think starts on Sunday, I'll have one, like, I think each week. And then do 50, and I'll run the Kickstarter, and we'll see what happens.
It's very cool. It sounds almost kind of a League of Gentlemen-ish, the thing that you're trying to do.
Sure.
Because what they did is they take iconic, you wouldn't think Tom Sawyer was this gun wielding superhero kind of bang shoot 'em up, but the League of Gentlemen was that's like they kind of brought life back into Mark Twain. I thought it was a fantastic movie, but the whole concept of the idea was it's brilliant.
Well, have you read the comic?
No, I know it came from a comic, but I never did. I first was aware of it when it became a movie, and then I was like, oh, it was a comic first. I'm like, okay,
was that Alan Moore?
Yeah,
was that Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Cool.
Warren did a book called Planetary that I think is very similar in some ways to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen the film. I've heard it's terrible, frankly.
I enjoyed it. Like I'm strictly as a filmmaker, I thought it was great. A lot of people don't like it because it's like Supernatural, the TV show. I for years and years I didn't go and watch the Supernatural show because there were other shows on like Once Upon a Time, which took old fairy tales and kind of like weirded them out and modernized them and whatnot. Turns out that the Once Upon a Time in Wonder with the Alice in Wonderland, that little 2-season show was really good, really well done. But I stayed away from Supernatural because I thought they were going to take old monster myths that I knew well, Dracula, vampire, werewolf, lycanthropy, all that stuff, and just it all up, just destroy it. But one day I was bored, the show was on, I was like, yeah, what the hell? My friend Dennis likes it. My friend Dennis and I have similar likes in television. It can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
Book for a show. But when people see something that is, they're used to a certain way it was, they tell they were taught as a kid, and they've changed it. It's a sour taste.
Yeah, reading the book things are based on can be a double-edged sword. For me, I'll give you 2 examples. I love Michael Crichton novels.
I do too.
Fun, and you can't put them down. You're basically going to be reading those the next 48 hours. And I hated Jurassic. I love that novel Jurassic Park. I hated that movie.
Okay. So good question. What's your favorite novel?
What's that?
What's your favorite Crichton novel?
Spear.
Really?
Yeah, I love Spear. And
cool.
and it's interesting because I hadn't thought about it in a long time, and I'm listening to the audiobook again, which I found, and I'm curious to rewatch the movie and see if it's not as bad as I remember, because that was another one that I saw the film and I just was like,
Is that Dustin Hoffman? I think it was.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Dustin Hoffman.
And Sharon Stone and Sam Jackson, I think.
I just saw
Yes.
it. I love Eaters
That
of
is
the
the
Dead.
lineup.
You
I
love
love
what?
Eaters of the Dead, the book, and then I love 13th Warrior. I just watched the thing on it, just breaking down weird stuff about it on YouTube. But
Good movie
I
too.
like
Yeah.
13th Warrior, yeah. But Eaters of the Dead, and I remember reading Jurassic Park in high school. It was big back then. You know,
Yeah.
movies are okay, but the book's always better to me.
Yeah.
I didn't read my favorite book actually of his. I had a bunch of them because again, from the movie standpoint, he's all over. If you don't realize that in the audience, look him up on IMDb. There's a lot of movies he's done. You've probably seen 10 of them, and you wouldn't realize it.
Directed
the movie timeline they butchered.
right.
Can't stand it. But the book is fantastic. I didn't read it. My friend when I was in college. I was actually out of college, but I was in Savannah still. I lived there for a few years after school. And one of my good friends lent me his CD audiobook copy. And I've been trying to find a copy of it. There's lots of copies of it read by other people, but the one I heard was read by David Ogden Stiers, Charles Emerson Chester III from MASH, that actor. He just recently passed away, by the way.
Wow.
He read the book, and I think I read the book only on my way to and from work most of the time, but it was like 6 CDs, and I didn't ever want to get out of the car.
Yeah.
It was like the book was so well done, and he did every character. It's really disgusting how bad Hollywood really ruins books. They've done a fairly okay job with Dune, which is a complex book, and I've read. It's one of the few books I've read repeatedly because I'm extremely dyslexic and I hate reading. It gives me headaches.
Sorry to hear that.
But I enjoy the stories. It's just something without my glasses, I get headaches. With my glasses, I get migraines. So it's weird. But anyway, so Dune they've done okay. The only movie in movie history and book author history that was improved by Hollywood was Jaws. As the ending of the book of Jaws, the shark comes into the cabin, and then the sheriff swims away, and the boat sinks, and the shark drowns and dies. But the prologue at the end of the book is that the shark was female and pregnant and gives live birth at the bottom of the ocean. The baby shark stays down there in that region until it gets 25 feet and harasses the next story. Anyway, but long story short, in the movie, he says, "Smile, you son of a bitch," and hits it in the mouth with the scuba tank, and boom, spectacular ending. The only kudos I give to Hollywood for fixing a book.
Yep. No, you're totally right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, it is a spectacular ending. It really is. And some of the footage they were expecting to get, they didn't get because they had to actually build a 1/20th scale size version of the boat and a 1/20th scale version of the shark cage. And they put a not a midget actor, but a less than normal sized human actor.
Wasn't a child, small.
It wasn't a child. No, it was an adult stunt actor. But they went filming with these expert shark film, underwater photographers.
Yeah.
And the footage you see of the shark getting stuck between the boat and the shark, that's live footage. That's a real shark. That's not a fake shark. And
how in the world did they do that? Yeah.
All just pure damn luck. Happy accident. Because
please call the little people dwarfs. Please call the little people dwarfs.
It wasn't a little person. It was just a dude who's like 4'1".
But you said the M word.
But anyway, the shark, the mechanical shark they built, Bruce, the 26-foot long robot they built, didn't work and hadn't been working throughout most of the time. And this even during this part of the movie when you see that. So thank God. Otherwise, the movie probably would have sucked. And that's what makes it work is you don't see the monster until the last 15 minutes.
No, less is more. And that was the inspiration for the Blair Witch Project. That's why they never I think they shot a scene where they showed the Blair Witch. I've heard that. I've never seen it, but supposedly they thought, you know what, we're they were really into Jaws. They like how it's just implied this whole time.
Well, I mean, the real catch is doing it correctly. Friday the 13th does it fantastically. The end of that is a really spectacular movie. They give you an ending and a cliffhanger for the next.
Yeah, I'm real happy with those Villeneuve Dune movies, though.
They were pretty good. They got the ornithopters correct.
Yes.
They messed up the order of events a little bit.
Right.
And then they're also missing out on a lot. There's like every main character and every subordinate character and every character subordinate to that character, according to Frank Herbert, who wrote the book, every single one of them has their own plot in the movie or in the book.
Right.
And there's a lot of information that's not in there. I mean, they threw in a lot. There's a lot more in this movie than the previous attempts. But I still think that the best version for the ending is the first Dune, where they gave it wasn't like a bunch of guys in still suits kicking elite soldiers with like a kung fu on the desert kind of thing, which is how the book really ends.
Yeah.
The fact that they gave him a weapon that would go against basically the robotic like starter car really sells the ending. Again, that's another time when Hollywood actually gets it right. You know, and having a bunch of primitive people beat a bunch of elite, soldiers with laser guns, and they have no weapons of the type. It just wouldn't sell. So, I mean, it's the only way you can do that movie. They have to have laser guns, or it just will never match. And they balanced it well with both Villeneuve and the original.
Yeah, you're talking about the Dune version, the Lynch version, right?
The David Lynch version, correct? Yes.
Yeah. My one complaint is that apparently they originally were going to cast Jenna Ortega as Shani.
Chaney.
Zendaya ended up playing her, and I don't know. I really wish that they'd gone with Jenna Ortega, but
I love the Lynch version. I like the new.
The only problem that I have though with all of those movies, they all get one thing wrong. The names, all the names are pronounced incorrectly. If you listen to Frank Herbert's version, he does an audio novel of the book. He reads all 6 of them. Actually, if you can get your hands on it, it's like $1,000. If you can get your hands on it, it's good.
Wow.
But it's Harkonnen, not Harkonnen. It's Atreides, not Atreides.
Really?
It's Padishah Emperor Shaddam the Fourth Corino, not Corino.
Yeah.
It's Giedi Prime, not Giedi Prime. And it's Piter de Vries, not Piter.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch more, a whole bunch more.
Yeah. Piter's one of my favorite characters in the whole thing.
Oh my God, I love he's Brad Dourif. How can you not like the first Piter de Vries? Oh my God. And he does that chant with the purple lip stuff. Oh, and I'm like, that's my dude. He's the bad guy. Follow him.
Right now, listen. This is a hypothetical fantasy situation, but it's not really. Nukes are going off from the war right now. You have 2 days before they reach here, which I'm sure is not scientifically correct. What 3 movies would you watch if you knew you were going to die? That was your last night on Earth, last few nights on Earth. What 3 movies?
Oh, I'd probably
for Todd.
Lord of the Rings, the extended versions, all of them. Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, all the extended versions, right in a row, bam, in order.
That's not a bad thought. Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Cohesive. It's one thing that'll last at least 14 hours.
That's a good question, because I don't know if I would be in the mood to watch a movie. The Shining is one I can watch. It's probably the movie I've watched the most.
It's a good movie.
I can watch and then just start over as soon as it's done.
I'm not sure if it's one you should watch when the nukes are dropping.
Yeah, on some CD players or some DVD players, you can loop it, so it'll just keep playing the movie over and over and over.
Yeah.
I love old weird cartoons like that Hobbit cartoon. I could watch that freaking thing a million times. That Lord of the Rings by Ralph Bakshi. Even the little Return of the King wanker one. It's not that bad, but I watch it. But another one, The Fantastic Planet with all those little blue aliens. I could watch that. Got to be really high to watch it, but it's good. You haven't seen Fantastic Planet?
Not since I was a kid.
Oh, you should. weird.
Have you seen his more modern one? Same guy, Rene Laloux. He did a modern one called in America it's called Light Years. In Europe, it's called Gandahar
Oh,
with
I've
a
seen
G.
that. It's on Amazon.
Oh my God, it's awesome. The animation is
It's
an
weird.
artist.
It's
You
kind of
gotta
heavy
look at it.
metalish. Kind of heavy metalish.
Interesting.
Gandahar / Light
I'd have to
Years.
go with some weird stop animation or something. I love like weird stop animation. There's a lot of weird stuff you can find on lists that are just bizarre. That I can't remember the name. One that had a wolf in the title or something that was really weird. There's a lot of weird, but no 3 movies pop up though. The world's ending. What 3 movies would you miss? You're about to croak.
Boy, that's a.
You're in the afterlife and you're thinking of movies on Earth, and there's 3. You get 3 that you get to watch in the afterlife, and you have to pull from 3.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what film
I'm
I
not trying to trigger you.
No.
There's some imagery from the movie there. That's the lobby card.
I'm not going to give you a popular answer, but I love A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Films. That's one I could watch over. I think it's a perfect film too.
Yeah.
Kolchak's in it. Kolchak.
I also love James Bond.
Yeah, I've got all of those. Thank God.
Yeah, I'd probably have to put a James Bond in there. Of course, trying to choose one James Bond is impossible.
You just throw a dartboard at your collection, and whichever one it sticks on closest to, that's the one you watch.
Yeah. I mean, I really love Casino Royale.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's still arguably the best film. Too bad the other Daniel Craig movies didn't quite hold up. It was all downhill from there.
Well, I mean, there's one aspect of Casino Royale that it's hard to watch, but the rest of the movie's very good.
Yeah. Well, you mean Casino Royale or
the one with Daniel Craig when they put his butt through the chair and they hit him with that knotted up rope?
Yeah.
Woo! I'm like, this is not James Bond, man. Come on.
Oh, that was from the novel. That happened.
Was it really? Wow. Okay.
That's one of the things I liked about it is it despite how modern it seems, it really.
Oh, Jay's showing titties on the thing. You better be careful.
Anyway, that's Light Years Gandahar. That's kind of the.
It's on Amazon.
Got it.
I should have been quiet. We could have had them on there, but I ruined it.
Oh.
Well, Jeffrey, what are your 3 movies? Or
there's a lot. Some of my favorites would be Braveheart, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, Excalibur. I'd have to watch it. I love Excalibur.
Yes, Excalibur. Great. That's funny. You know what? I confess I don't really like the Coppola Dracula. That's like one of my least favorite Dracula.
There's some things in it, like Keanu Reeves, that's kind of rough. I like Keanu Reeves. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, but yeah, it's his accent's a little hard. But I love it. I like it.
I kind of bristle a little bit when Dracula is too sympathetic, and I get it. Like, I think that's a great take. That's one of the things that makes Dracula cool is he's so interpretable.
His hair. That's the weirdest part.
Horror. It's like every version is the correct. It all works. And
what about the Luc Besson? I want to see that one, but we haven't yet.
Super curious about it. They had that. There was one that either that Netflix or the BBC did not too long ago. That was like 3 episodes. Did you see that? The first episode I loved. Second,
I saw it.
Had a hard time getting through, and the third
one
went
downhill.
Yeah. Oh no, what happened?
What was the one where the Demeter? That wasn't bad. That was good.
I never saw that.
Oh man, you need that whole thing's just about him on the boat.
Yeah.
Just nonstop slaying.
But it's hard to keep up with that stuff because there's so many Dracula. I mean, I watched as many Dracula movies as I could get my hands on in preparation for doing Nosferatu. So I was fascinated by the choices everyone made. Like, everything's based on this novel, but everyone has this wildly different version of even just the Christopher Lee versus Bela Lugosi, or and seeing what Herzog did with Nosferatu is that's still probably my favorite version.
One thing though that kind of kills me about the vampire, let's just call it the franchise. Very few people have written the vampire the way it should be used.
Okay.
For example, okay, so we played Dungeons and Dragons in college, and one of my characters was a priest, like a high level, 10th level cleric. You know, I could raise the dead at that point. I became a vampire, and the person who made me a vampire said, "I want you to kill your party and make them vampires with us," because we had a paladin, which is a holy warrior. We had a cavalier, we had a very powerful druid, and a very powerful wizard, and a very good thief.
Okay.
So my vampire whatever leader said, "Go get him." So I was like, okay, the first person I'm going after is the paladin. So I went into the paladin I turned into mist, because as a vampire turned into mist. I had that power, flew into his bedroom at night as a cloud, hovered over him, and I told the DM what I was going to do. I was like, I turn into me, I drop on him, and I kill him.
Okay.
I dropped on him, and my DM said, "You got to roll." I didn't have to roll that hard because he was unconscious and he was on his back, so it was like +8 to hit. But when I just dropped on him and I started to bite him, and he goes, "Wait, stop!" And I went, "No," and I killed him. And he became my underling. I got almost all of the people in my party by doing that, and no one has ever used that. I mean, it's always like as a getaway. He's like, and he turns into a powder or disappears. No, you come into the room and you go, "Gotcha." They hardly ever do that.
Jay, you smoking that good sativa? You act like you're getting a meth tonight or something. What are you doing?
Yeah, I just like that story about me being a vampire and just being able to kill superiorly more powerful creatures than me.
We want to watch. Me and Christina need to watch Underworld again. I would watch all those again. It's been a while. But one thing I want to say, Todd, let's hear a little bit more about the Ghost book, a little bit, and then we'll do Frank Miller. Get into some Frank Miller. And we end at 5 till. You need to take a restroom break or anything, or
5 to 7 or whatever it is.
You got 5 till 9 here. Yeah, it'll be 5 till 9.
Got it.
You got like 30 minutes, 25 minutes or something.
Yeah, let me take a quick restroom break and I'll be right back.
No problem.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your Ghost book and then get into some Frank Miller.
Sure. All right.
We'll see you in a minute.
I think is that what this book is? Oh, that's the Graveyard Gallery I was looking at. Okay. There's no file for that book, but at least we got to see some of those. Those were pretty good. He's got some good artwork in there. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Why do I keep doing that? Because there's so many sounds in my house. I have to shut it off all the time.
Too many puppy dog noises.
Yep. But for some reason, I'm pouring sweat. Hopefully, I don't have some kind of weird virus.
You're pouring sweat? Ooh.
Yes, I hate it.
Take a hot shower afterwards. That usually
humid outside. It's humid outside.
Take a hot shower. I know it sounds counteractive,
Well,
but
it's actually cooler. It's 61 tonight, but it's been hotter.
We're about to get back down to the 20s tonight. 28, I think they said.
You get 30 Tuesday. 30 Tuesday. But
you're up close to Georgia though. You're north the top of Florida, not towards the bottom.
Yeah, I'm up top.
Yeah.
The very top.
Seasons.
We get 20s, thank God. I'd prefer it just to stay cold. Guess who I talked to today?
Who's that?
Let me make sure a certain person's not listening. Oh, you know how we had the whole Andy Colvin thing, the guy I wrote books with. There's a friend of mine that, just to give a little recap, I've been friends with Andy Colvin for a long time. We wrote books together. And I started getting some emails from friends saying, "Is Andy okay? He's acting crazy." And I was like watching him and I go, "Dude, you do seem a little wilder since your divorce. Something just seems off." And then next thing you know, he is, what is that echo? Is that me? Hello? Like, let me check my settings.
Hopefully it's not me.
Speaker.
It wasn't me. I don't think it's Todd either.
It's not me. It may be you, Todd. I don't really know though. But check it. I have no idea what it is, but it's not that bad. So, but it wasn't doing it when you wrote it, so it may have did it after you got off. Yeah, I don't know if it's you or not. I have no idea what it is. It's like a mumble. It's like a weird muffling mumble thing.
Yeah, I hear it now too. Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Is that me? Like, is it echoing me?
Yeah, I was muted. It wasn't happening while you're doing. Mute your mic. Hello, hello, hello. I think it's all of us.
Does it
It may
happen?
just be a StreamYard thing.
Could be.
But anyway, Andy was a friend of mine that he went a little crazy from Trump and his divorce, and supposedly his ex-wife works for Epstein. Christina here works for Epstein. My mom works for Epstein, and he went crazy. Lauren Coleman works for Epstein, and he had like a breakdown. But anyway, I told Lauren Coleman about it, and Lauren Coleman said that he always thought Andy was mentally ill. That's from Lauren Coleman. So you know who Lauren Coleman is, WJ?
I'm not sure.
Big Bigfoot guy. Very famous Bigfoot personality. He has a museum. Let's figure out what that noise is. It's
I
weird.
think it's coming from you, dude.
I don't. Let me come in and come back. I'll be right back.
Very weird. We get that every once in a while. There's like a Mercury retrograde going on, and it voodoos the movie or the show.
That's okay. Hopefully it's not.
There he is.
It's gone now, ain't it?
Yeah. Oh my God, Gary Oldman's back. Look behind you. Gary Oldman's back.
That's a Cthulhu bag, but it looks like Gary Oldman and Dracula.
Look like Gary Oldman from the movie. When he has the Dracula hair.
I don't know what that weird speaker is. I hear it again.
Yeah, it's got to be you.
Well, how's it me? Let me come back. I'll be right back.
You have another speaker on, or another? Maybe you have.
No. I'll be right back.
Weird. Very weird.
That is weird.
Happens from time to time. This is one of the things. What did Captain Kirk's engineer say? The more you stop up the drain, the easier it is to wait. The more you take up the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain. That's what he said.
Patty said that?
He says the more you take up the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain. And then he goes, "Here you go, doctor," and he hands off the spark plugs from the warp drive from the ship that's about to chase them out of the space dock. From one sergeant to another. Here's the guts of that engine. That was a funny scene.
Pardon me. I miss Star Trek.
Yeah, I really, really wish. I mean, there's two things that J.J. Abrams is going to be famous for: destroying Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah,
and I think Star Wars is on its way to kind of redemption. They got a few projects on there that are.
Hope so. That would be nice.
Yeah,
I actually am a little indifferent.
Debacle. I've stopped watching Academy.
Star Wars. But Star Trek, man, I grew up with that, and I think that 2009 Star Trek was really good. And
Great movie.
Fact, I think it's a really good example of what we were talking about earlier with practical effects. To me, that's a perfect blend of practical and digital. It's like a sweet spot for me because there's a lot of practical effects in that movie.
Luckily they were at a juncture where they were still using stage effects. So,
diving out of the ship, that's all just them standing on a mirror.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic special effect. I mean, it's like sky surfing or whatever. One of the coolest things ever.
Jay, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Am I muted?
Not
anymore. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Hello.
I hear Jay. You can't. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No.
I can't hear either of you guys. Did I hear myself?
Can you hear me, Jay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Check on the small windows below your screen there, Jeff. Maybe you muted him that way.
No, I didn't. Maybe come back, leave and come back, Todd, and make sure you know what I'm talking about? Leave and come back.
I can't hear either of you guys. Should I plug out and come back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Freaking Mercury retrograde, man. Just slaughter and everything.
Something's going on.
Why am I pouring sweat?
Here he is.
There we go.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
So the cool thing about Star Trek, you're right. They used a lot of practical effects, both from not vaudeville so much, but stage magic, stage special effects.
Right.
Wizard of Oz famous. Almost all the special effects are vaudeville, disappearing act kind of things. Like the witch disappears through the floor when the smoke comes. It's all great stuff. But a lot of people don't realize that the transporter was also actually a live effect. I actually saw they had a transporter room at it was the fourth, maybe fifth convention, Star Trek convention they ever had on the planet, and it was at the same Washington Hilton where President Reagan was almost assassinated. And on the mezzanine level, they had the transporter room set. And my brother and my dad, my uncle, and everybody, we were on our way out of the convention. We didn't see this until the end of the day. We walk out and we see the whole transporter room set. We're like, oh my God. So we stopped to watch. They put 6 people on it and they disappeared live in front of our face. And we were like, while we were doing that, freaking out, we looked below, directly below that, on the level below, they had cut holes in the floor and there was an identical transporter set directly underneath of it, and they just had the pads the light pads were an elevator that dropped the people down to the next level. And then when they beamed them back up, it was just like on the TV show. I'm not kidding. The gold, all the sounds, the lights, everything. And then they beamed back up. We were like, we gotta go, we gotta get on that. And my dad and my uncle were like, no. We're not standing in that line. They dragged the 3 of us and 4 of us out of there. It was horrible. We didn't get to buy it.
Yeah, I would have thrown a fit. I would have totally wanted to do that.
Well, there were 2 losses that day. I had a chance. My dad could have. I was 10, I think. My dad could have purchased a screen used Phaser 1 or Phaser 2. The Phaser 2 was handled by Dr. McCoy. The Phaser 1 belonged to Spock, I believe. So the difference for those are this is Phaser 2. And that is Phaser 1. They lock together as 2-piece item. This is worthless without the actual power source.
Oh, wow.
So I had a chance to buy for $350. My dad could have purchased a hero version of this that Spock held on all of the scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Show. Or for I think $500, he could have gotten this, which was the gold owned by Dr. McCoy.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it's two misses.
And yeah, I love that.
All right. Well, we don't got too much longer. We got 8 plus 5 minutes. So that's 13 minutes. We need a little mini Frank Miller seminar. That's enough time, I think. It's not too much, but it's enough.
Yeah. Well, what do you know about Frank Miller?
Just the basics, like the Batman stuff, the 300, the movies, and Sin City. I'm no expert. I've looked at Ronin. I want to get those at some point, and I know he's branched some new stuff off in his own company. And I swear, I think that Swinguli, there was a comic he did with his company, so Out of Time or something that the host with the hat, like the dude the horror host. He actually, Frank Miller, did some kind of comic with his company for him. But I don't know a little bit. I need to, I would like to get more of his stuff, though. It's in my plans one year. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. Svengoolie is a New York thing, isn't it? Because I don't
Chicago.
Oh, got it. I don't know anything about that. But what I do know is that Frank Miller is a really interesting person that, my favorite work by him was Daredevil. And for me, I grew up reading comics, and I immediately fell in love with comics. But what really solidified for me was reading his work on Daredevil, and probably the Chris Claremont X-Men. And I'm very fascinated by the fact that both of those books have in common is that they were going to get canceled. They were not big sellers. Marvel considered those both kind of throwaway titles and basically let some newbies come on and so do what they wanted with the book within reason. And I think I think again, that idea I said of change nothing and improve everything, I think that's what they did with those characters. And they took characters that were probably about to be forgotten and not only revived them, but made them the biggest sellers in Marvel and probably turned the entire industry around in the process. But for me, it's just a really good example of how to rejuvenate a character. And Frank always can take a character and make that character interesting again. He understands when he sees the things, taking what works and jettisoning what is dragging the character down or not interesting. I wonder who drew that cover.
I don't know.
Jeffrey, you're muted.
I know, I keep forgetting. He comes on Edgar Snoring, which he does his respiratory stuff. But anyway, he comes on Me TV, which is in Florida, but he's originally from Chicago, and he it's funny. Like there's another character, Nosferatu, that dresses like Nosferatu, but they show old movies. Like they've been showing a lot of Hammer stuff with Peter Cushing lately, and Godzilla versus King Kong. And there's an app way to pick it up, but we get it on regular TV, Me TV. But that's Frank Miller's comic company. What does FMP mean? Do you remember? I'm forget what the P means, but that's definitely Frank Miller.
Productions.
Productions. Okay.
Frank Miller Publishing or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably publishing or productions. Yeah.
I think it's already gone and defunct. I don't think it's around anymore. I could be wrong.
I know they were trying to redo Ronin and stuff, but I don't haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any more in the pre-orders, that's for sure.
Yeah, they keep talking about making a movie out of that stuff. I don't know much about that. I just was fascinated by his ability to make characters that weren't, for one thing, like his art is, he's far from the best draftsman that's worked in the industry. There are people who can draw a lot better than he can, even from day one. And yet, as a kid, I was fascinated by the fact that despite the fact that his drawing wasn't that great, I was more interested in his drawings. And I would think to myself, well, why is that? What is he doing that's making his drawings so interesting? So he, showed me that good drawing is only part of the equation, but sometimes good drawing can't save a story. And his work was really riveting.
But it's funny you mentioned that. I'd like to get your opinion on this. I think you grew up in the same era of comics I did.
Probably.
My era is the 70s and 80s. That's when my first comic was the Spider-Man comic. I kind of at first I veered away from Daredevil. Only because back then it was like there was still like a stigma around comic books. People thought, if you read the ones with like spooks and demons, you become possessed and demonized. So I was kind of superstitious in that regard. But I was like 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Anyway, it seemed to me, particularly through the 70s and then around the 80s, I guess, is when it really started to flip. But it seemed that DC had good stories, fantastic stories, shitty artwork, and you go to the other side of the coin, you got Marvel. Marvel had terrible stories, the worst stories on the planet, but they had fantastic artwork.
You're talking about the 70s?
Yeah.
That was definitely a low point, as far as like Marvel and the comic book industry in general. I think everyone expected the comic book industry to go away in a few years, and they were all preparing to work in other fields. But I think that the big thing was that Jim Shooter came, and I'm not an expert on this stuff, but Jim Shooter, I know, became the editor-in-chief, and I think he helped turn things around and plug the right people into the right places. And for, I want to say the first like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years of that, I think he made Marvel the dominant company in the field. And I think where things went a little sideways is when they started doing all these crossovers. I think they did that book Secret Wars, which is a great concept. You got all the superheroes in one place on a planet, and they're just fighting each other, and it's pretty basic. But I think it was a huge success, and they started thinking, oh, well, we'll make everybody buy will have a storyline that's threaded through all the different books. You got to buy all the Marvel comics
to get the whole thread. Yeah, and that made
Yeah,
comic
and
collecting
I
really
still,
hard.
I think that they call that event comics now, and I think that's still a problem for specifically for Marvel.
I
They don't
agree. No, they're still doing that. Absolutely.
have books that are just good monthly reads anymore.
Yeah.
But for
That's
me,
one thing I still say I do like about DC. I
yeah,
don't like as many heroes in the DC verse as I do in the Marvel verse, but hands down, my favorite is Captain Marvel, the original. Shazam.
Shazam, yeah,
The original Shazam. He's the original Captain Marvel. I mean, they had them at the same time. I mean, they all have. If you follow comics at all, there's a whatever the bad guy is in Marvel, he looks almost identical in DC verse. That just the names are different. And it's uncanny how similar they get a good idea from each other and they just steal it. But
mm-hmm.
the fact is that in the 70s, it's just I think they really started to come together in the 80s. But I started collecting again in the 90s, and that's when the new Shazam came out, and I think I have the first year, maybe the first 2 years of it, and it went from a book 0 to 1 through 12 for the year.
You're talking about
it's fantastic artwork and great stories, but it didn't thread through 5 other different titles or 8 different other titles, and that's how Marvel and they started doing that really strong in the 90s. I mean, it's like in order to follow any kind of sensible story, you had to buy 3 and 4 books in 15, 20 titles at least.
Yeah, superhero comics completely lost me in the 90s. Yeah, that's interesting that you started collecting then, because that was when
it was more of a recollecting. I had collected in the 70s, but I wasn't a serious collector.
Well, okay, so like for me, collecting was, I didn't read that stuff in the 70s, but I discovered comic book stores in the 80s, and that's when I started going back and reading all that. So when I got into Frank Miller's stuff, had been out for a while, but I found Daredevil Born Again. That's still my hands down flat out favorite superhero comic of all time. And then I was like reverse engineering. Well, what else has this guy done? Oh, he did this thing Ronin. He did all the old Daredevils that he also drew. He did a Wolverine miniseries, and starting to wrap my brain around what the X-Men were and how they worked. That was really fun. Like every week I couldn't wait to go to the comic book store and just like go through all the boxes, and I missed that,
it was eye-opening to me when I was in college. I forget which one of my friends told me about it. We frequently we played Dungeons and Dragons, as I mentioned earlier.
Right.
The comic store was also the D&D store. It's where we got our books, where we got our figures, is where we got the dice, whatever. That's where we got everything. We even, when Magic the Gathering came out, they were advertising this, I think it was 93, Magic the Gathering, this new RPG, and we're like, oh, that's all. We're RPGers. We're original D&D Gary Gygax guys. We decided we're going to go out and buy this new RPG, and then we all said, as long as it's not a CCG, we'll try it. We get to the store and it's CCG. So it has nothing to do with RPG whatsoever. It's not a role-playing game. But in any event, one of them says, why don't you just get a subscription? And I'm like, what do you mean, why don't I get a subscription to comic books? There's no such thing.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, you go to the comic book store, you tell them which titles you want. They set them aside on Tuesday night. Yeah. You come in Wednesday morning, and they're there waiting for you. And I'm like,
and then it gets totally shit out of hand.
I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea that comic stores did that. At that point, I wasn't buying or collecting them. And I was just like, he said, get a subscription. I was like,
yeah.
So the next day, I had 20 titles racked up.
For some reason, any of those mechanisms like that are on a site or at a store, I have to be very careful because I will screw it up somehow. With
like I said, I went to the store the next time we went. 20 titles I signed up for right away. I mean,
we got 1 minute. Todd, it's been great. Todd Blackwood, everybody, the Graveyard Gallery. What's some links and stuff to keep up with your stuff and keep us in the loop on future stuff, and we'll get you back on. It's been a great show. Thank you.
Just for right now, Instagram is my main place to find me, and it's Todd Blackwood Art. So if you go there, that'll bring up, and there's links to my Pop Killer stuff with the Sesame Street Kaiju designs and anything. I'll probably be starting a Substack and a newsletter or something, and have an online store or something.
Do Substack, because I just had
Yeah.
Kevin Laporte on, and he's Inverse Press and Flatline
Cool.
Comics, and him and Clay Adams, he's Fried Comics. They've been on, but they all have Substacks that do really good. That seems to be doing good for a lot of people.
Yeah,
It looks really good. Yeah, Graveyard Gallery Volume 1. Let us know when it's coming out and everything, and we'll get you back on, and at least I'll help promote it for sure.
Yeah, maybe when I do the Kickstarter in the fall, I'll bug you guys and see what you're up to, and maybe we can have it on.
Absolutely.
I'll check back on with you to see for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
All right. What's the title now? What's the few titles you keep up with now, comic book wise, that you have to keep up with?
Oh, there isn't any. I read.
That is the correct answer, sir.
No, I read books that are written by Garth Ennis. I read.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Garth Ennis, Warren Ellis, of course. I pay attention to what Frank Miller's doing, although it's a little hit and miss sometimes these days. But I still love the guy. But for me, yeah, unless there's something I'm really forgetting, but I don't go to comic book stores anymore.
Have you read any David Eddings?
Is it Eddington or Eddings? Is it Eddings or Eddington?
David Eddings. David and Lee Eddings.
I've heard of them. It's fantasy.
Yeah.
Very Tolkien-esque. If you like Tolkien, I suggest you start with the Belgarian series.
Some big ones, a few comics I keep up with. Kirkman on the Image has that G.I. Joe, Transformers, Hasbro, Void Rivals, and they're about to do Mass crossover. That's badass. I've been keeping up with that. It was a Cobra Commander series that I wish they would have let that go on forever. It was only five issues, but that was awesome. Yeah. And then the EC Comics stuff. Elijah Wood now has some stuff through Ani Press. He just did one called High Strangeness. That's a 5-issue. Elijah Wood, the actor. He is involved in a comic book company, and the book's called High Strangeness. It just had 5 issues, and there's Men in Black and UFOs. Another one, James Tinian, has been doing Project Blue Book, which is UFO cases. It's really good, real UFO cases. And he just put out Project Red Book, which is China and Russia UFO cases, like real cases done in comic book form.
That's cool. That I would want to get.
They're coming out in omnibuses and stuff, so you can find them on Amazon. Sweet. But James Tinian's also doing an Odin series.
Odin, sure like in One Eye?
has a girl on it, but I don't know exactly. It's just called Odin, so I'm guessing it has
something to do with Thor. Did they flip Thor back to a guy again?
He's mortal now.
Oh yeah.
But no, he was a female. They actually.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch that.
They did. They literally flipped the character. They entered him to Thora.
Do that.
But Todd, man, thanks so much. A great show, and I'll check back in with you to come back. And thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
All right. Take care. All right, everybody. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM, New Orleans. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. And those are some Mark Eddy guests. I think it's archaeology with Wham and stuff, but it'll be a good one. So, Mark Eddy's the archaeological hookup. I have a friend in Florida that's an archaeologist named Jeffrey Shanks, and he's really involved in those Titan Conan books a lot. Like he's wrote like stuff in them and stuff, but he tells us weird archaeological stuff. But anyway, everybody have a good weekend. Good night, everybody. Take care.